Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Subject Podcast. I'm Chris. You know my voice every week. Every week I'm joined by Mike.
And you know my voice every week, don't you?
Jeez, I don't know why you keep putting the porn voices on, man. That's so weird.
That's a porn voice?
Well, what else would you describe it as?
Okay, I'll do a different voice.
It's gonna be deep.
This summer, two men do a podcast, and everything goes wrong.
God. Yeah, pretty much.
Chris Hydeman and Michael McAvoy brings to you the subject.
You got to add the Inception.
Dun, dun. This summer,
Coming to a theater near you.
a new thrilling episode, 45.
Good grief. Okay, moving on from
Yeah,
weird
okay,
trailers.
yeah.
And also, speaking of things going wrong, Facebook has now banned Australian users from viewing Australian and international news articles in response to the Australian laws that were recently passed, meaning that Rupert Murdoch gets money for news articles that are posted on those websites, or on Facebook at least. Google has agreed to pay, but Facebook has said, you know what? No more news articles for anyone in Australia.
That's kind of rough.
It's kind of rough, but at the same time, I mean, I can understand the thought behind it, because most of the Murdoch media is just spitting out lies anyway.
Yeah, and it's all the same shit from all these different places, you know.
Exactly. It's the same shit with a different smell.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Like, you'll see one article on, I don't know, some group, and then you'll watch another one on a different group. It's still the same person, you know what I mean?
It says the exact same thing.
And then you'll see people from Lad and fucking Vice and all that shit.
Lad Bible and Vice, and then
BuzzFeed, yeah.
Bloody 9 News.
It's all pretty much garbage.
It's all the same. It's all owned by the same person. So
Yeah.
There's literally no difference in it between the two companies, or between any of the companies. And we all know that, I've explained this before, Rupert Murdoch owns 100% of the newspaper publications in Queensland.
Yeah, so everything that you read here anyway is from the same guy.
Yep.
Essentially.
And he also owns 80% of the rest of the Australia's news media.
And a lot of people have been saying that, you know, each article is, you know, maybe titled differently and it's done by a different reporter, but either way, it's still the one person that says what they can and can't talk about.
Yeah,
sure,
exactly.
maybe in different words from a different person, but essentially, you know, they all report on the same thing and they all kind of end up saying the same shit.
Yeah,
just because there's one guy that says what you can and can't say.
It's the same narrative. And I actually recently came across a video that was posted by good old Kevo.
Good old Ruddy.
7. And he posted on YouTube a short 1-minute clip of Rupert Murdoch talking about climate change. And it's basically a minute of Rupert Murdoch denying climate change.
Yeah.
Saying that we should be skeptical, that it's all a bunch of lies, you know, even though there's been hundreds and thousands of scientists saying, no, climate change is alarming and it's accelerating. I think we need to do something about this.
I think at the same time, it's when he says that it's not real, he creates this propaganda, he creates all this crazy hype, and then people come back and read his shit, you know, so he's just generating money for himself by denying all these things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the manufacture of controversy is where he gets most of his income.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's him getting most of the income because most of his publications are actually running at a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
At time of recording, they're running at a loss.
Yeah, so really, there's no benefit for him to actually have a lot of these newspapers and all that because he's not making any profit off it, really, unless it comes directly to him.
Well, the only reason that I can think of that Rupert Murdoch owns so many newspaper publications, not only in Australia, but
around the
in
world.
the US, around the world, exactly. In the US and the UK, both of those countries have a really big Murdoch problem.
Yeah.
It's basically like a virus at this point.
I mean, a lot of the time, like, if he's not making money off, all these publications, it's like, how is he making money? He's just obviously taking bribes from all these different people and being like, yeah, all right, I'll publish whatever the hell you want. 50 mil.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the way it goes. Because
Exactly.
the Liberal Party have handed him a few $1 billion in tax handouts over the last few years.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned one where he got, I think it was $40 million to help his regional publications, which he ended up closing most of them.
Yeah. It's like, oh, thanks for the money. Now I'm going to go shut all this
still
down.
Kept the money.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
No, it makes sense. 'Cause the
Well, I
Liberal
mean,
Party
it
didn't
makes
wanna-
sense to a point. Like, yeah, he's
He's a greedy old
he's
man.
just a greedy old man who wants money and then either tricks the system or uses the Liberal Party to trick the system, and they know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
As long as he's on their side, they don't really care because, I mean,
of course
the
not.
fucking Liberal Party is happy to just throw money down the toilet
get-
anyway. They don't fucking care.
Exactly. They're terrible economic managers. You can't change my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to I was watching was it Q&A with
Oh my
Albo.
Yeah.
So they were asking Albanese, who is the head of the the Labour Party, and all these questions. And every time he tried to answer them, they just cut him off. They just kept cutting him off. And then, they'd ask him like, "Oh, so what would you do about this and that?" And then he'd say, "Oh, well, I would, create this by building that." And he's like, "Oh, well, you were just slamming the Liberals for spending money, and now you're going to spend money." And it's like, well, you have to spend money. It's just where you spend it that makes, the outcome better. They're not spending it where it needs to be spent.
Yeah, and Josh Frydenberg sending, what was it, $20 million to a skydiving company in northern New South Wales for quote-unquote bushfire relief when like half of that area has been burnt to a crisp.
Wasn't it supposed to like increase tourism or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one skydiving company that gets $20 million
Yeah. Why?
to skydive over barren, burnt forests.
Yeah, that's what
Nobody's
you
going to
wanna
want to
see.
pay for that.
No.
And that company is owned by a Liberal Party donor.
Yeah. So it's like the corruption is so obvious.
They're not even trying to hide it
It's
anymore.
so obvious.
It is, and especially considering the last few days, even with the recent revealing of this young lady, Miss Higgins, I believe her name is. She
The
got
victim.
sexually
Yeah.
assaulted in the Liberal Party offices, and was made to believe that if she reported it to police,
She'd
she
lose
would
her
lose
job.
her job.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit, and that's corrupt behavior right there.
The hard thing with like sexual assault and rape allegations is that it's hard to get that proof. You know what I mean?
That's
I'm
true.
not saying that it's like, please, like, I'm not saying that if you are a victim, don't say anything without proof. Obviously, like, it's just so hard, for it to be over the line in a way. Whereas, there have been cases where people have, had these allegations, but they've been false. And then that has ruined people's lives. But people who obviously have been victims of these things, their lives are ruined too. So it's just, it's one of those things that's so hard to,
Yeah, I'm always under the belief that no matter what, the victim always suffers more. Because even if they have proof, even if everything that they say is true, the opposing lawyers are still going to try and drag their name through the mud. Like the whole point of them trying to get her off or them trying to get the Liberal Party member off of this allegation, is to save face.
Yeah,
And then they'll just
if
destroy somebody else to
if
do
it
that.
is true, and then they have a defense attorney that tries to, but I mean, if they have the proof for it, then it's a closed case, really.
Yeah.
It's more like if they don't have any proof, and then the allegations come out, and then the defense attorneys then just start slandering them and be like, no, it's bullshit, like blah blah blah, and then of course that would be even worse. But then there are those people who have these allegations where they are false and they are just trying to get at somebody, and then that person's life is ruined forever, because they will have that against them forever.
This is true. And in a recent cabinet meeting, I guess is what they call it, they addressed this issue, and Scott Morrison had a bit of an oopsie because he said that he was notified about it in April of this year.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you guys might have time machines or not, or know what the date is today.
Yeah, it's
But
definitely April right now.
It's April's
do you
definitely
remember?
happened.
Do you remember April 2021?
I remember Easter being amazing.
Yeah, it was the best Easter.
It was absolutely awesome.
I actually saw the Easter Bunny this time.
I know,
for reals.
right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought
Early in 2021.
Yeah. Who would have thought he'd have teeth that sharp?
That will never happen again.
No. It's once in a...
Just an idiot.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. And you know what? The date that he spoke about was actually a date back in 2019 when the police were first notified about this incident. When they first started.
So he's known about it for like 2 years.
So he's known about
pretty
it
much.
for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
And he's done fuck all.
There's just so much bullshit in the Liberal Party that ScoMo knows about and just does not care.
Yep.
He just straight up, like, every single cabinet meeting I've seen him in, he literally will, like, when, say, Labour is opposing something, he just sits on his phone. He doesn't even fucking listen. Like,
He doesn't
he's
pay
not
attention.
even, he really does not care.
He's like that one boy in class in your grade that would always sit at the back of the classroom and would not study for anything.
Yeah.
Would normally fail, but somehow, because his parents are rich, he got in the best schools.
Exactly. Like, it makes me look back to when COVID was huge. Like, it hit and they could only meet, like, so often. He only worked for that entire year, like, 3 times. He was only ever there
He sat
3
in
times.
Parliament. He sat in Parliament 3 times, and he was working for 40 days out of the year.
How fucked is that?
That's
and he still got
stupid.
paid. He still got his super. He still got everything. Everyone else lost their fucking jobs.
He still got his super increase as well.
Yeah, and he
which has
refused
been
to take a
frozen this
pay
year.
cut. He refused to take a pay cut.
Yep. He gets $500,000 a year. He is the most well-off world leader in the developed world.
Yeah,
he is paid
dead set.
more money than Donald Trump was being president, and he does even less.
And adding to that, he has a face that just makes you want to just...
Yeah, he's got a very
you just a small...
he's got a very punchable face.
Yeah,
hasn't
dead set. It's the kind of face you what was it? In
nice
Step
and
Brothers, like in Step Brothers, where the guy's talking to like Will Ferrell. He's like, I like what you do, but obviously not ScoMo. But he's like, I like what you do, but your face, man. Oh, I just want to change your face, dude. Or I'm gonna fucking smash your face in. Like, it's just something about your face, and that's how I feel against ScoMo. Like, there's something about his smirky little fucking face that just makes me want to deck him.
Man, every time he smiles, it's just...
Like, what does he have to be proud about? Like, honestly, he's done nothing. In his entire term, he has done nothing.
The whole COVID recovery plan was all Labor's idea.
Dead set.
And then Scott Morrison came in, stole the idea, and then bragged about it like it was his idea. It's kind of like you're riding in an elevator and someone farts. Next minute it stops at the next level and someone pops their head and goes, yeah, that was me.
Yeah, like, it was...
Somebody not even in the lift was taking credit for something that happened in the lift.
And Albanese was addressing the cabinet, and he spoke about the press stunt that ScoMo did through the bushfires, where he literally just rocked up to, like, with a camera just to take photos and shaking hands, like, all that bullshit.
It was
and
the best.
And Albanese said that the woman that refused to shake his hand, that the Prime Minister forced to shake his hand,
that was disgusting.
Right now is still living in a caravan with her son, with no home, no support at all. And he promised support all the way back then, like a year ago.
This was, definitely. It was a year
And
ago.
he has done nothing. He forced this woman to shake his hand in probably the worst time of her life, and she's still suffering, and he's still done nothing.
Yeah. She has lost everything due to the fires.
Yeah.
And when Scott Morrison came in and forced her to shake his hand, he promised support, which has never happened.
Has never happened.
Which is the Liberal Party story that keeps on fucking repeating.
It's fucking disgusting.
Because they only help the people that they choose to help. So Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, who was behind the laws for Google and Facebook to start paying news corporations for articles to appear on their websites, has mismanaged the budget so horrendously badly Like the bushfire funds and the COVID. The bushfire funds were absolutely fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
There
like
was
where are they?
no-
You know,
no help.
where honestly, have in the last year and a half or 2 years almost, how much have you heard about the relief for the bushfire victims?
The only things that I've heard about the relief from the bushfire victims are big chunks of money going to skydiving corporations, oyster farms, and cotton farms.
Exactly.
Which, oh wait, hang on, are those liberal donors? Oh wait, yes they are.
Yeah, it's like I personally have heard nothing. I've heard maybe a lot of relief for the animals that suffered.
Yeah, but through no help for the government.
No, the government hasn't fucking done nothing. But the people, where's the support? I legit have seen nothing. I remember there was a scandal with, was it the Salvation Army, with all the donations that were going to them,
Yeah,
and
they
then
were
they
keeping
literally
a
just
chunk of
kept
it.
a huge
Yeah.
chunk of it.
Yeah.
You know, I literally have seen nothing.
There was I think it's the mayor for a place in the Snowy or the Blue Mountains in New South Wales that was recently denied a grant for bushfire relief because his requests apparently, and this is a serious quote, did not fit criteria, and the people making those claims didn't actually tell the mayor or his staff about any of the criteria that they had to fill out.
Yeah.
They were told that it must exceed, I think it was $1 million in total for grants. His all the 27 requests that he had filed for, people's homes,
Yeah.
fire stations, this sort of thing, to help build up the community again.
They were like, nah, not good enough.
Not good enough. And it was $1.5 million that was going to go towards this town that heavily relies on tourism
Yeah.
to keep the town running. Now has nothing because guess where that $1.5 million went?
Went to that skydiving.
It went to the Skydiving Corporation.
Along with how much more?
But yeah, exactly. And then there were, I can't remember what they're called. There were like regions over, like literally the next region over, the next council seat over was a Liberal seat. And they got funding, $190,000. So it was less than a tenth
It's less than that, yeah.
of what was actually requested from the guys in the Snowy Mountains. And because it's a Liberal seat, they get the grant.
It's crazy.
But because it was a Labor seat that requested the $1.5 million,
yeah.
they didn't get it. How fucking corrupt can you be?
It's crazy, right? Like, I'm looking into some kind of bushfire reliefs, all that kind of stuff, and all I'm getting is foundation grants. Nothing government.
Nope.
It's all donations, like, what's this, like, bushfire recovery access program? It's not government based. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. The Liberal Party have literally done nothing for the people. They've only cared about what's going into their pockets and what's going into their mates'
It's
pockets.
like they've completely forgotten about the bushfires. Like, completely.
What bushfires?
Yeah, exactly, right?
What
You mean
bushfires?
skydiving, right?
Yeah.
You
said skydiving.
Yeah, you said skydiving. 20 million. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's corruption at the most base level, and it sickens me that they're not even trying to hide it, but that big news corporations like the Murdoch media still holding the reins of our government and just dangling a carrot above their head going, oh, look, go this way.
Yeah.
Go where I tell you to go, because then I'll keep you in power.
It's just insane because, I think more and more people are starting to see it now. And
I hope so,
it's,
man.
I mean, it's almost too late, but with the next federal election that's going to come up soon, if ScoMo
really hope
stays
that
in, I
ScoMo
swear
gets
to
it.
God, if ScoMo stays in, oh my God. If someone tells me they're a liberal, I'll punch them straight in the face. If they keep this guy in power, I swear to God.
If I'm queuing up and Liberal Party members approach me, like those volunteers that
Yeah,
are
to like give you like a
giving
flyer.
out pamphlets, I'm literally just going to smack them out of their hands. And go,
yeah.
Are you serious? You guys are working for these fuckers?
I will just tear up their shit right in front of them and walk away. I'm like, nah, this is
No.
fucked. You
How
cannot
can you-
seriously support this.
Yeah, how can you morally support a government that has literally not cared for the people that it's supposed to protect and care for in the entirety that they've been in power. They've literally done nothing. And that's not just Scott Morrison. That's going back to Tony Abbott, to Malcolm Turnbull, and even further back.
Dead set.
Every single time that the Liberal government has been in power,
They've fucked our economy.
they've fucked the
and
economy.
they've done nothing.
And they've just destroyed the country. Case in point, Gladys Berejiklian, the New South Wales Premier. We love talking about her. We love talking about how fucking stupid she is.
Yeah, exactly.
She increased land clearing in New South Wales 130%, which brought New South Wales above third world dictatorships. I know I've said this before, but it's crazy.
It's crazy, right? And we almost lost our Labor seat in Queensland.
Yeah.
And if we did, then the clearing here in Queensland would be worse than New South Wales.
Yeah, which would have put us like second or third in the world for land clearing.
Exactly.
And we have some of the most beautiful natural rainforests in the world. Why the fuck are we destroying this shit?
Oh, because we want to build a gravel mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, gravel mine, definitely fucking worth it. Jesus Christ. I really hope that... what was the name of the Liberal Party member for Queensland?
Oh, fuck. I don't even remember that.
I don't even remember her name because she's so fucking useless. She literally just said, anything that Anastasia will do, I will do the opposite of.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
So you won't care for the people. You won't care for the environment. You will destroy the economy.
Yeah.
And COVID will just fuck us up.
I mean, like, when I went and voted for our state election, the Labor Party guy came up to me and he was like, hey, here's the pamphlet for voting for your local blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm voting for Anastasia. Like, she's been in for a while and I'm pretty happy with what she's been doing, so I'm going to keep voting for her. And she stayed in because she does a good fucking job.
Yeah, and Queenslanders aren't idiots. No. Although we do vote Liberal almost every federal election.
Doesn't make sense because, like, our state elections are usually always Labor.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to the control that Rupert Murdoch has on people's ideas. Because through his newspaper publications, and I know we're talking about this a lot, but it's fucking happening right now.
Yeah,
he can spread whatever kind of bullshit he wants in those newspapers. He can say the sun is really a giant orange in the sky. And people would believe that.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from The Guardian, or it's coming from Sydney Morning Herald, or it's coming from Sunshine Coast Daily. You know, any of those newspaper publications are owned by the same guy.
Yeah.
And he just
so
lies.
frustrating. And the sad thing is just the people who rely on these publications to get their information. They're the ones who are like the real victims, really, because they're trusting these publications because that's all they have, and then it's just spoon-fed bullshit.
Exactly. And then we have sources like Google and Facebook where you can literally, Google, you can literally look up the actual facts like that. And you can tell that, the sun is lying to us. Which is pretty easy to tell once you actually look at the facts.
But then there's the gullible people that, you know, they're like, oh, you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet. And then they'll read publications from the same guy around the world and they'll believe that. You know, it's like, well, who...
It's come from The Guardian over in the UK, which is the same Guardian that's here.
Yeah, it's owned by the same guy.
Person. It is not a different publication just because it's in a different country.
Yeah, it's horrific, really. And it's costing us our government, and it's so frustrating. It's
costing us more than our government. It's costing us lives. It's costing the environment. It's costing the economy. Like the robo-debt scheme cost people 2,000 people died because of that.
It's ridiculous.
And there have been no consequences for it.
No. And they'll straight up and say like from the fucking COVID package, like the businesses that, you know, were either taking too much money, they were like,
they can return it if they want to.
Yeah, if they want to, they can give it back, but they don't have to. But then there's people who are like, oh, you live off the pension. Oh, you got too much money. Give me that back now. Give me all that money back. But you can't afford it. You've committed suicide. They don't give a shit. They really just don't give a shit.
They don't care. And it's that kind of hypocrisy that I absolutely fucking hate. Man, it's detrimental to everybody.
It's so frustrating. You remember when that kid egged Fraser Anning?
Oh, yes.
That
was amazing.
that was hilarious. I mean, I felt sorry for him after they fucking like tackled him and like, you know, all
I
those
still
fully
thought he was a
grown
fucking
men.
legend.
Yeah, full legend. Well, all these
So
grown
take
men have like
5
fucking
grown
tackled this guy
guys. Yeah.
and like pinning him to the ground. Like, holy shit.
You egg what? You egg him, you're egging all of us.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Key.
What? So I reckon like every time, like the only time ScoMo ever comes to Queensland is when there's some publicity bullshit that he needs to do.
Yeah, like when Albo visited a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, Scott Morrison had to fly up as well just to help out the Liberal Party member up
Yeah,
here.
right?
And
It's ridiculous. No.
He just came to Queensland for, I guess, a holiday.
Yeah, it was weird. And even Albanese's just like, yeah, every time you can always tell that when ScoMo needs some kind of publicity, that's the only time he ever comes to Queensland.
Yep.
It's the only ever time he goes anywhere is either for publicity or for a holiday.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Meanwhile, Albo's out there visiting like industrial plants where they're making the best solar panels in the world.
Yeah,
the
or
best
he's
lithium-ion
actually
batteries in the world.
actually out with the fucking victims of the bushfires still trying to help them out, you know? No, ScoMo just doesn't care. Like, that's the thing. He just does not care.
No, exactly.
He really doesn't. He has shown no sense of credibility. He has shown no real want to actually lead and help the country. Like, it just...
He's shown us nothing that can be construed as leadership. Because he's gotten fired from 2 jobs in government tourism, first in New Zealand and then in Australia, because he decreased tourism to both of their countries.
I mean, even as a fucking prime minister, he's probably decreased tourism too.
He definitely has. But he's also decreased our standing in the world.
Yeah.
We are now, I think it's 4th last in growth rate in the OECD, where under Labor, we were number 1.
Yeah, we were number 1.
And
you know,
now being 4th last, and we're like, well, fuck, where did that go? Wait.
it's sad because Australia is one of the most developed countries in the world.
Yeah.
And we are behind third world countries in so many things.
Exactly. And it infuriates me. Like, we make some really awesome stuff here.
Yeah.
Like, we make some of the best lithium-ion batteries in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we export lithium all the way to fucking the US for Tesla. You know, most Tesla batteries are made from Australian lithium.
Well, the Tesla battery design was an Australian design.
Yeah, it's
But because the government didn't want to back it, because it was the Liberal government,
right,
they went over to the US and Elon Musk picked them up.
And he's like,
now he has
yummy,
their tech.
give me that.
We invented Wi-Fi as well.
Dead set.
And we have the worst national broadband service in the fucking world.
It's so bad.
And I'm not kidding. It is in the world. We have less data flow on our government standardized internet service than third world countries do.
It's horrible.
It is
It's
atrocious.
so bad.
It shouldn't be like this.
You know, you have like internet providing companies like Telstra and all that. They'll say, "Oh, you can get up to blah blah blah, like fucking 80 megabits per second." And it's bullshit.
That
Like
speed never happens.
No, like maybe in the US, maybe, but here the best you're gonna get is like what, fucking
16.
yeah.
That's about
Well, that's
where it
generous. Yeah.
So
So bad.
up to X amount of
Yeah, but you'll never
Mbps.
reach that.
No, it never gets reached. And also, I think it's worth pointing out that Telstra is also a Liberal Party donor.
Yeah,
So
That's
take away from
definitely
that
one of the
what you will.
reasons why they're like the leading provider in Australia.
Yeah, well, I think the reason that Telstra, Rupert Murdoch, and people and corporations like that have a sort of monopoly on the industry is because they pay for that monopoly.
Yeah.
They
Literally.
pay the government to
And they're,
have that.
you know, they're one of the most popular providers, and yet they still can't really provide the best service, and they're the most expensive at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, what they are, they're providers. You know, the internet is there. They provide access to it. You know, it's like your electric company. You know, you've got Energex, or the people who, you know, care for the electricity and the guys that actually, you know, provide it. These guys, your electric companies that you pay for, they're the ones who just allow you to access it. You're literally just paying them to be billed for your electricity. It's the same with Telstra.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous why it's so expensive. Literally, to just have someone say, "Yeah, you can access this. Give us money."
Yeah, it's just corruption at its most base level, like I keep saying, and it's heartbreaking that it has been allowed to happen for so long now.
Yeah,
it's just really disappointing. But definitely tell us what you guys think of this down in the comments. We'll leave a couple of links to news articles down in the description below for everything that we're talking about today.
Yep, definitely.
And while you're down there, you may as well hit that like button. And right next to that is a button that says subscribe. Definitely destroy your mouse pressing that.
Like, share, subscribe, comment.
I don't know what that was, but
or even, or you don't even have to hit those buttons. What you should do is, like, once it's up on your phone, go up to the person next to you, right, and say, "Hey, see this? Check this out." Yeah, and then just stare at them until they Google it, and then look it up, and then they hit subscribe. That's what you should do. Talk to the person next to you on the train. It's a good little conversation starter. Like, "Hey, homeless guy, check this out."
Definitely alienate a stranger.
If he screams at you, then you know it's working.
Moving on.
All right, so okay, I've got something really cool here. It's called the Carcopter. Yeah. So it's a hydrogen-powered Formula One race car.
You had me at Formula One race car.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically got like 4 propellers on it. It's huge. Like, it's pretty big. It was recently debuted from a French company called MACA, MACA. At the Consumer Electronics Show in 2021, so this year. The aerodynamic speed machine is vying to be the first manned flying hydrogen Formula One, and is capable of soaring at 153 miles per hour in theory. Theoretically, it can.
So in theory, 151 miles an hour.
At least.
That's pretty quick.
So the eco-friendly design comes from the minds of 2 aviation experts, ex-fighter pilot Thierry de Boisvillers and a former Airbus executive, Michael Krolak. The duo decided to create the hydrogen-powered racer in an effort to reduce the harmful carbon emissions produced by traditional combustion engines in Formula One track.
I mean, that's fair enough, because there's like 24 races on any given grid.
Yeah.
And all of those cars are running at max RPMs for most of the race.
I feel like it's fucking cool, but at the same time, safety-wise, imagine a huge collision crash in the air as they're racing around at 150 miles per hour.
I mean, it wouldn't be pretty, but at the same time, like a few episodes ago, we were talking about dangerous races, and a lot of that stuff still happens on the ground.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be safer on the ground there than you would in the air.
I mean, yeah,
depending on how high
depends.
You fly, I guess.
It obviously depends on how high you're going and whether or not you can eject from it.
So the Carcopter shows at the CES was a small-scale model that measures just over 8 feet and is powered by 6 35-kilowatt electric engines.
That's pretty good.
The final Carcopter, which is currently being developed, will weigh a little over half a ton.
Oof.
Yeah, and span roughly 16 feet from tip to tail.
Wow.
It will be fitted with hydrogen fuel cells and tanks that its designers say will far exceed the range limits imposed by batteries.
I mean, I just want to go back. Half a ton, that's what, 500 kilos? That's not a lot of weight.
No. Well, it would have to be pretty
car.
light to, fly well.
Especially if it's got hydrogen power cells and however many motors. What is it, 6 motors?
I don't know. It hasn't said that yet.
Yeah, okay.
6, 35 kilowatt electric engines, but that was in the small scale model.
Oh, okay. So if we scale that up, it might be like 12.
Yeah. I don't know. It says that
But 16
it will
feet is a long car.
Yeah, it will
car.
also offer a semi-automatic piloting for added safety. So
yeah, I feel like that could be a good thing. Like, self-leveling or anti-collision hardware and software
The
just to try and mitigate that.
Yeah, like, and you've got these propellers spinning around it, however fast, and then if they break off,
That's
you might
someone's head
literally
gone.
take someone off in the stands, So apparently, it's a so when it comes to the looks, the Carcopter Sports is minimalist, lightweight frame, and is arguably one of the sexier flying cars we've seen, thanks to more subdued rotors. So the rotors are, they're more hidden, but they look like it looks cool.
It looks sick.
It looks really cool. They have a little teaser video about it too, which will be in the description. You guys can check out, which will be sweet. So so Macca expects the final model to take off at the end of 2021 and plans to launch the Carcopter on Formula One circuits by 2023.
Surely that'd have to be then a different code of Formula.
Yeah,
I feel
it would be.
Because they've got Formula E, which is all the electric cars. They've got obviously Formula One, which is where Lewis Hamilton and Mickey Hakkinen all drive.
Yeah.
You've got Formula 2 and 3, which is still open wheel races.
Maybe
So
C.
if you get Formula
Copter.
Copter, Formula Hover or something.
Yeah.
But it would be cool seeing a race full of 10, 12 of these cars.
It would be cool. I wonder what it sound
flying
like.
around a circuit.
There'd
There'd be a lot of rotor noise, I feel.
It would be cool.
It'd sound like 10 helicopters taking off.
Yeah. They don't know who's going to be piloting it yet, but...
Pilots. I'm just going to go out on a limb there.
No,
Maybe-
it's a one-man piloted.
Yeah.
Craft.
So pilots will be piloting these cars.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. But they don't know who.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
But yeah,
Helicopter
so
pilots.
it would be interesting. That's for sure. I'd be keen to see this. And, this is just another step forward, you know what I mean? Something, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe then after this, we'll have our little fun. Oh, yeah. So, Elon Musk, right? Sorry, just quick off topic here.
We're back on the meme king.
Off topic. So, I was watching a podcast the other day, the Joe Rogan experiment with
Great
Elon
podcast.
Musk that came out the other day. And he said that there's this new model that he's working on where it should be able to hover a meter off the ground. His new car that he's developing, it should be able to hover a meter off the ground. Yeah, and he's also looking at putting in rocket electronics, for his actual rocket electronics, and there'll be this option to put a pressurized cell in the back of your car, so it'll replace the passenger seats in the back, and it'll be this huge cell that will be able to create, I think it was over 100 something pressure of thrust, so it'll be able to literally just take off like a fucking rocket.
So basically make your Tesla into
He's
a rocket
literally
ship.
making he's basically making this hovering Tesla car that flies like a rocket,
Amazing.
which would be fucking sick.
That
Just
is
saying.
sick. I also saw an article where he was talking about the Cybertruck, and he said, look, the solar powered van would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, because it's all
So-
about, it has to have the size to be able to capture enough light to actually power it, because
Exactly.
it doesn't matter how much of that light you capture, it's still the same amount per square meter. So
Yeah.
if you want a lot, you need a lot of square meter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you also need to have it unobscured,
Yeah,
because I think in the Cybertruck it was in the tray. And if you have stuff loaded into the Cybertruck, then oopsie-daisy, you've blocked out the solar panels.
Yeah, and you need a lot of time too to actually absorb enough of that
Yeah.
light. So there's not enough hours in the day for it, for that sized anyway. Ugh. But yeah, so I'm pretty keen for the future of cars and all that, because it's looking like it's going
Me too.
lots of different ways. We've got
yeah.
electric, and now we've got some flying boys. What's next? Who knows?
Man, I don't know.
Rocket cars.
I hope so. And I think back in the the 50s and the 60s, back when they were first discovering the power of the atom, they were theorizing and hypothesizing about a nuclear powered car,
Yeah.
which would be sick. but at the same time extraordinarily dangerous. So
Yeah.
maybe something like that could come into play in the near future if we can somehow make nuclear power more safe.
Hydrogen powered.
Hydrogen power would definitely work because there's a lot of hydrogen in space and in the universe. It's the most abundant atom in the world.
Be interesting.
We shall find out.
Well, that's today's episode there. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope that you will then go down and hit that like button if you did. And if you didn't, I want you to go down and hit that like button anyway, because that's what we need. We need you guys because your support is loved and it helps us keep doing this. So every like, every share, every view is very appreciated.
Exactly. We're up here on every Thursday. On Spotify, Podbean, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is still pretty spotty. But
videos are there. So if you do want to have a quick little recap on some of our stuff, definitely check out our YouTube channel as well. We are hoping to this year go into some more visual stuff, so we might get some cameras, set that up, and you'll be able to see our faces if you want. If not, you can find some Podbean anyway where it'll just be audio.
Yeah. Or Spotify, where it's just
Spotify, where it'll also just be audio there as well.
And I feel like most people have a Spotify subscription.
Well, I mean, Spotify is free, but if that's a poor people thing, I think.
Podbean is also free.
Yeah, it is also free, and not a lot of ads on Podbean.
No, there isn't actually. It's pretty good.
Yeah, so there might be some ads on ours coming up soon, but
merits.
Unless you want to sponsors, any sponsors out there
sponsors,
hit us up, boy, please.
We need that extra moolah.
Even then, just hit us up, and we'll work something out. If you want to be a little cheeky with us, we'll be a little cheeky with you. I totally just made every sponsor turn away just then.
Yeah, you did. You just alienated most of our audience.
Rip.
On that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Adios.
Adios.